Thank you for staying tuned to Channels Television and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, your afternoon recap of the biggest stories, political and otherwise, in Nigeria. I am Bukola Koka. The headlines. Former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, pleads not guilty to a 16-count charge of money laundering. And the battle between FCT Minister Wike and Oyo State Governor Makinde continues as Minister Wike responds to Makinde's earlier comments. And welcome once again. We begin with the courts, and former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami, his son and one other individual have pleaded not guilty to a 16-count charge of alleged money laundering after being arraigned before a federal high court in Abuja. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, had filed a 16-count charge against Mr. Malami, his son Abubakar Abdulaziz Malami, and an associate, Hajia Bashir Asabe. The charges include large-scale money laundering and the illegal acquisition of properties worth over 8.7 billion naira. The indictment claimed that they used multiple bank accounts, corporate entities, and high-value real estate transactions over nearly 10 years to indirectly acquire illicit funds. The charge sheet stated that the alleged offenses took place between 2015 and 2025, primarily within the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, during Malami's time as the country's Attorney General. The EFCC claimed that Malami and his son used Metropolitan Autotech Limited to hide 1.014 billion naira in a sterling bank account from July 2022 to June 2025. They are also accused of depositing an additional 600 million naira between September 2020 and February 2021. And now to security concerns. What you're about to see are relatives of the 7 abducted construction workers carrying out construction work along the Sabaja-Owa-Onire Road in Kwara State some 15 days ago. Representatives of the families addressed a news conference in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, where they stated that the kidnappers are demanding a ransom of 500 million naira for their release. They are also appealing to the state government and security agencies to come to their aid.
Our government release your
We call on the Kwara State government and relevant security agencies to please intensify rescue efforts and treat this abduction as a top priority emergency until every victim is safely returned home. 2, we urge government to establish direct communication with the affected families, so we are not left to rely on rumors and social media for information about our loved ones. Number 3, we appeal for immediate support for the families of the abducted workers, including welfare assistance and counseling, as many households are already in distress. And lastly, we ask for stronger security presence along construction corridors and rural roads to prevent further attacks on innocent workers and residents. This press conference is not about blame. We are not blaming anybody. It is about the safety of ordinary Nigerians who leave home every day to earn an honest living. To the abductors, we say, these men are fathers. These men are sons. These men are our brothers. Please release them unharmed.
And now to politics. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Wike, has denied claims that he promised to deliver the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 general election. According to the minister, who spoke during his end-of-year media chat at his residence in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, he describes the allegations made by the governor of Oyo State, Makinde, as false.
The point is that see, you can be helped through several ways. And one of such ways, the president looked at it, I'll support you with this, with this, with this, with this. And that's why, you think that that's not enough for you. And so, it baffled me, I would not lie to you. Because if such a thing took place, I would have told you, yes. It never took place. Go from autumn. In fact, they all called me when they had this thing. They said, what kind of rubbish is this? How can he say that we went for a meeting and then I said this? I can. In any case, who does not know my position as regards to Tinubu's president? Do I need to tell him that? Nigerians have had me say severally, I'm going to support the president. So how would I now go and tell him, President, don't worry, I will hold down PDP for you? It doesn't make sense.
Turning attention to River State politics, the FCT minister cautioned that professing loyalty to President Tinubu or chanting political slogans will not automatically guarantee a second-term ticket for any sitting governor.
For here in River State, I can tell you, we have always maintained that Mr. President will be supported. Whether you're PDP, whether you're an APC, all of us have maintained that we have to support a president. This is not the first time. We did it in 2023. Even when we were PDP, we supported Mr. President. But the point I'm trying to make is that so many people are now thinking that the moment you shout on your mandate, it becomes, that is automatic that you have a ticket. I don't know. That does, supporting president has nothing to do with that. We are supporting president. Does not mean that we must have automatic ticket. We are supporting president based on certain factors, which we have seen severally.
And in a swift reaction, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, says Minister Wike has once again confirmed his anti-party posture after openly declaring himself the #1 supporter of the presumptive APC presidential candidate for the 2027 election, despite claiming continued membership of the PDP. In a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Inieme Mobong, the PDP recalls that since becoming River State Governor in 2015, Mr. Wike has consistently stirred crisis within the party's leadership, positioning himself at the center of repeated internal conflicts. The party notes that Wike championed and later fought successive PDP national chairmen from Ali Modu Sharif to Uche Secondus and later Dr. Yocha Ayu, creating instability and deep divisions at every turn. Describing his politics as conflict-driven and disruptive, the PDP insists no individual can hijack the party and assures Nigerians it will present a credible presidential candidate capable of winning the 2027 elections. And there'll be more perspectives on the deepening leadership crisis within the opposition People's Democratic Party, but we'll bring you that after the break. Join us again on Lunchtime Politics. And welcome back. Now, with the continuing war of words between leaders of the two seeming rival groups of the PDP, Minister Wike on one hand and Governor of Oyo State, Makinde on the other hand, the leadership crisis within the PDP may well have reached a point of no return. Now, don't forget that in between that exchange was also the allegation by former Ekiti State Governor Ayo Fayose that Governor Makinde had received 50 billion naira as support for victims of the Ibadan explosion that occurred earlier in January 2024, but only 4.5 billion naira was spent out of the funds released, and that the remaining funds was used to support Governor Makinde's presidential ambition, an allegation that the Oyo State government has since denied. So with the new dimension to the leadership crisis within the PDP, we might ask, has the PDP reached the point of no return, or can there be a solution to the enduring leadership crisis in the PDP? Joining us to discuss this is the former National Vice Chairman Southwest of the People's Democratic Party and, of course, member board of trustees of the PDP, Mr. Eddie Olafeso, who joins us virtually. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on the program, sir.
Thank you, Buki, and thanks for having me.
I'm sure that you've been following keenly the exchange between Minister Wike and the Oyo State governor. And although the minister has denied ever, stating his commitment to hold down the PDP structure for the president ahead of 2027, and one question that he has asked that one cannot ignore is, if indeed he said so, why is the Oyo State governor just coming out now to make that disclosure? And that's the first question to you, sir. Why now?
Why now? It's obvious. It appears that the PDP is divided between those who wanted it alive and those who are hell-bent in ensuring that the party is killed for whatever reason, no one knows. What is clear is for, personal reasons. It's been long coming. And if not now, when? Because the reality of it is that we must survive to contend and contest the 2027 election. And here we are at the tail end of 2025. And a lot of people have put a lot of impediments, on our path to that opportunity to mobilize, to rebuild a party that they have once benefited from immensely, and now they are hell-bent in destroying. So what Governor Makinde did was to let the world know. And there were, the usual, backdoor discussions about somebody is playing games and all that. No, how can you play games with the destiny of several millions of people who are desirous of using PDP as a vehicle to promote and advance their political, ambition? And here we are at this moment, while some people were doing everything possible to ensure that the party is held down. I think there is no time opposite at this moment for Governor Makinde to have mentioned it. It's unfortunately, this is a battle of brothers, but the reality of it is that the truth must be told. Even between parents and children, there must be an opportunity, the moment you call, the moment of truth. And we have to manage it to the point that we know who is for and who is against. And by what is on the ground, you can definitely know exactly who is against the People's Democratic Party. As a member of Board of Trustees, there are a few things that will happen in the party that will be privy to. And as somebody promoted from the ranks to the level of Board of Trustees, and the number of challenges I've been through in trying to advance my own, ambitions, truncated by virtue of the fact that, groups played, against one another to make sure that you're stopped. I think it is right time for those of us on one side, those who want the party to leave, to actually stand together, and those who want an out, to do it in a civilized manner. You see, let me tell you, party politics does not mean that everybody will think the same way at all times. In 2023, they agreed, the G5 came together, they wanted to support the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And that was what they did, because they felt that the presidential candidate at that time did not carry them along, and that the reality of the politics of Nigeria vis-a-vis the zoning system did not favor a northern candidate at that time, and they moved against President Atiku. And because of leadership failure, complete leadership meltdown, we couldn't see eye to eye for those things, and we produced a minority president in President Tinubu. And here we are today, you know, a country bilingual, and we are at the throes of either surviving or trying to move on. And this is the reason why I feel Governor Seyi Makinde said that no, enough is enough. I have some facts that can help this matter, so that everybody can be put in their place and where they belong. And with all the reports we'll be hearing, both formal and informal, a group of people within the People's Democratic Party kept on playing that game, that divisive game. And it is a right time for us to note that nobody wins in this kind of circumstance, and that we must move ahead.
Well, your answers clearly tells us where you stand, and that would be with the Makinde and Bala group within the PDP. But how satisfactory is your explanation that... How satisfactory is your explanation that Governor Makinde is coming out now because there are some elements who are playing the PDP against each other, is what, you know, many may scrutinize. Did he wait for the benefits of supporting the 2023 presidential ambition of President Tinubu to come to Oyo State, perhaps in terms of whatever it is, some that didn't quite go down well with him, with the Oyo State government eventually, because his own minister nominee was not chosen. The president chose somebody else from Oyo State. But is that possibly or plausibly the reason why he held back for more than 2 years before coming out to tell Nigerians this is what happened? Is it for selfish reasons?
This matter is beyond Governor Seyi Makinde and every other individual. It's about the survival of the party that's been in existence since 1998 and 99. We came into power. It's about the survival of millions of people, I told you. So at any point in time, if an individual has an opinion to express, why not? And I disagree with the idea that because some things did not happen the way it was expected will be the reason. Because let me take you back to history. When Governor Tinubu was the governor of Lagos State, there was no love lost between him and President Obasanjo, Olusegun Obasanjo. For long, they were at loggerheads over the issue of local government administration and financing. And at no time did President Tinubu bat an eyelid in fighting about Obasanjo over this matter. And eventually, it is what brought him to where he is today, standing his ground on behalf of his principle and the vision of his party to ensure that they were able to wrestle power at the federal level. You know, it has nothing to do with that. And please do not let us read, you know, needless meanings into something as serious as the fact that you are in a party and at the same time you're desirous of working for another. Let me tell you, if you are doubting what Governor Seyi Makinde told you, are you doubting the report of the 6 BOT members sent to as a team to reconcile all factions, alongside with Senator Bukola Saraki? And the report they brought to us is the fact that they were given a condition: unless PDP will not field a presidential candidate in 2027, that they will not play ball. And we have seen this from the beginning. Look, I am one of the victims of people that believe that the party is supreme, because at all times, when they raised issues against me, and I can tell 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, the law for the party is more important for me to take a decision that will not divide the party. Are you aware of the fact that there was a time I was banned from coming to Eagle Square to contest as National Publicity Secretary of the party, just because I took Wike's group to court because of the suspension of Uche Secondus, who was the chairman then. And the constitution of our party was clear that you cannot suspend, discipline the national chairman except by neck. And suddenly you raised, a kangaroo group of people. They took the case to court, and Uche was removed, not temporarily but permanently. Please, why are we saying this? So what exactly would be the primary reason for Governor Seyi Makinde to just keep quiet because
all right.
Somebody needed to minister? He never showed that, and the reason why he said it, he cleared himself. I am not defending because he is capable and able to defend himself. So there is no reason whatsoever for that. The thing is now, we are all in court, we are the appeal, and we must speak ourselves or we die with it. The party is facing existential problem.
All right, Chief will have to leave the generality of the PDP members to decide the interests of Governor Seyi Makinde amid all of this. But here's another critical part of this continuing exchange between Governor Seyi Makinde and Minister Nyesom Wike. Why is former governor of Ekiti State calling out Governor Makinde for allegedly receiving 50 billion naira from the federal government for support for the Badr explosion victims of 2024 and only spending about 4.5 billion naira on that particular purpose? And the allegations continue to the extent that the remaining part of the funds received is being used to field the presidential ambition of the Oyo State governor. Some would say, why is he crying more than the bereaved, which would be Minister Nyesom Wike in this case?
This is nothing more than a blackmail. In the first instance, all the former governor of Ekiti State and a brother of mine and friend should do is to tell exactly what is going on between him and Seyi Makinde. And we all know the reality of it is that former Governor Ayo wanted to continue in the PDP, at the same time has publicly, openly declared for the APC governor of Ekiti State. And he's done everything within his power to undermine our party publicly. So the reality of it is that if she wants the party to survive and somebody wants it dead, not only in Ekiti State, but promise that he must support and work for the President Ahmed Tinubu, what is wrong with that? Well, Ahmed Tinubu has the right to be supported by people who want to, but at the same time, must you force all of us into the calabash with you? The reality of it is that our party must move on. We are going to get, candidates for our party to run the 27 election, and the guys don't write us off at any time. I'm still continuing with my trail of thought. You see, he already declared openly that he's going to work for Oyebanji in Ekiti. And at the same time, he wants all the structure of the party in his hands. How is that possible? It is unrealistic, it's unreasonable, and reprehensible for you to treat a party that promoted you from obscurity to the level you find yourself today. It is not real. And that's the reason why he has this angst again. And then is it from Oyo State? In the first instance, you have the EFCC, you have the federal government who he claimed sent 50 billion to Seyi Makinde, and Seyi Makinde, put together a committee to oversee how this money is spent. It is painful to lose so many people pardon
me, let me get this one in, and it's quite critical to the conversation. Whether you didn't quite tell us what is between Governor Makinde and former governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayoshi.
I told you, the structure of Ekiti State, the structure, he wanted it, despite saying that he will work for Oyebanji.
All right.
How do you accept that?
All right. The way things are going, it looks like the death and burial of the PDP, and in fact, the failure or in the preparation to fail by the main opposition party in the 2027 general elections. Even if the party were to be able to present a presidential candidate, INEC has failed to recognize either group of the party, and you have just 3 governors. What fate lies ahead of the PDP in 2027? 30 seconds, sir.
We produced those governors that left. Thank you for that question, Buki. We produced those governors that left. They have only 1 vote with them, although they have enormous influence by virtue of the fact that they are carrying the state purse. But I tell you, a revolution starts with what has become in Nigeria. If I ask you a question, and I don't expect you to ask me, are you happy today much more than you were about 10 years ago? The country is not running right. The reality is that for those who love the country, they must rally and be like minds to challenge the sitting government. And the APC has not provided leadership for Nigeria. Look at what has become of our country. So if some of them left, when we started in 1998, we didn't come with 1 single, governor, and we were still able to manage the country for 16 years. Acquiring support, acquiring, leadership by providing for the needs of the people. And now, here you are. I want you to educate me, Buki. You are an executive governor of a state with all the resources in your hand. You claim to be doing well in your party, the party that actually fought for you. They are taking advantage of the gray areas of the constitution to just walk away from the.
We really must close now, Chief.
But can they escape God? Can they escape, the citizens of Nigeria that pushed them there? The reality is that many of them were ashamed. That's the truth.
Yes, we really must anchor at this point, and thank you very much for coming on the program. We've been talking with Chief Eddie Olafeso, of course, former National Vice Chairman, Southwest of the PDP, and member Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you, Buki, and have a nice, Happy New Year, and wishing you all the best ahead.
Yes, and a Happy New Year in advance to you too, and to you all. You have been served your edition of Lunchtime Politics for today. Join us again same time next week when we'll bring you another. I am Bukola Koka. Bye for now.